Hi, I'm Dr. Cynthia Clark. I'm an acupuncture physician, applied clinical nutritionist. I'm the creator of Energy Evolution, and I'm president of Longevity Wellness. And tonight we're talking about holiday tummy aches and what to do when you get them. And I thought we'd go a little bit further and beyond and get to the question of why do we get holiday tummy aches? I mean, sometimes you're having something that you've had before, but this time it bothers you and before it didn't. So what's going on with all of that? So, in order to make this easy to see and read, and I'm going to keep this short tonight because I know that this time of year, conciseness really helps, and I want to make this digestible and bite-sized for you. So, I want to share something with you. Let's see here. Okay, I put this together for our conversation this evening. Let's see how we do here. So, I want to talk about what's happening overall in the body in general and why it is that at certain times it seems we can tolerate some food better than others. Like I call this vacation phenomena in my clinic. A lot of times people will be coming to see me, they have stressful jobs, they've got maybe some things going on at home, like maybe they're taking care of a loved one or there's just some stressful situations, and then they leave and they go on vacation, and foods that were bothering them before don't seem to bother them nearly as much. And what happens there? What happens is that stress. Well, it's easy to say, oh, well, we all get more sensitive with stress or it's more difficult with stress. But what does that really mean? And why does it affect us so much? So I hope you get comfy and cozy for a little bit, and we'll walk through this together because it's a cool story. It's really pretty amazing how the body works. And I'm delighted to share this with you. This came in, I had an insight in clinic this past week, and I got this cool graphic, and so I wanted to share it with you. First of all, our body all of the time is draining pathogens from our system. What that means is that we have a lymphatic system that's getting rid of toxins all the time. We got junk, a sewage system that our body's trying to clear. And that's the way our body is designed. It's incredibly well designed, incredibly intelligent, that our body is designed to um, just take out its own trash. And that's wildly cool, except sometimes it seems harder to do that than others. And why does this happen? So let's talk about that. First, up at the top here, you see this little pathogen circle. And that's just the junk. That's what we're all exposed to all of the time. That's the things like candida or mold, Lyme disease is a significant pathogen if you're exposed to that one. But bacteria, fungus, spirochetes, parasites, viruses, things like SARS, the flu, colds, even things like heavy metals, chemicals, and environmental allergies, we're going to consider all of those pathogens for the sake of the conversation tonight. And you'll see in the center here, this is our clearing system. Now, sometimes we have a very small clearing system. We have a very small clearing system, and sometimes it's nice and wide, and we can let it flow more easily. That's vacation mode. That's vacation mode, when everything's simple and easy, and we don't have a care in the world, and it all goes through more quickly. But this bit in the center here, that's when we're under stress. Now, what we're really looking at, though, is we're looking at this relationship between the amount of pathogens we have and the amount of clearing ability we have. Now, how do we clear toxins out of our bodies? Well, you'll see it on the bottom here. Pretty straightforward. We pee it out, we poop it out, we breathe it out, or we sweat it out. So it has to get out of our bodies in some way, shape, or form. And in order to do those things, the number one helper there is water. So a nice, beautiful glass of clear, good, filtered and remineralized water. Will keep you going, will keep your lymph going, and will keep your brain going. So we've got this skinny little pathway, or we've got this wider pathway, and basically our job is to try to widen that pathway to make ourselves more relaxed. And meditation does this, energy work does this, acupuncture does this, to make ourselves more relaxed so that those pathogens can go through. The crux of that is the gut. So if you hear a registered dietitian, Natalia, talk about it's all about the gut, That's what she's talking about because all of these pathogens have to clear through the gut in order to get out of the body. So if we poop it out, it's got to go through the intestines. If we breathe it out, it's got to go through the lungs. If we sweat it out, it's going to go through our skin, which has an intimate relationship with our intestines. And if we pee it out, it has to go through our urinary bladder. All of these, in one way, shape, or form, have to go through the detoxification pathways. They've got to get through the system. All right. So if we're exposed to a small amount of pathogens, so we're living on a pristine mountaintop and it's all beautiful, 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 and we have a tiny amount of pathogen exposure, we're a hermit who meditates all day and we never see anyone, then we aren't exposed to very many pathogens. We grow our own food, it's nice and clean and pristine. So we would have a very small pathogenic load. Most of us are living in the 21st century, and that means that we are around all sorts of critters. We're around parasites, we're around fungus, we're around bacteria and mold, all this junk all the time. But the big thing truly is that it has a great deal to do with what we feed in our bodies. And when I was growing up, I fed a lot of critters in my body. I didn't feed them the right foods because I didn't know what was the best thing was for me to eat. And I was a kid. So I had a sweet tooth and I really, really, really loved ice cream. That was my favorite. And I never like sat down. I didn't have any of this to know about. I didn't have any way of knowing, oh, if I eat ice cream every night for a few years, possibly a decade or more, uh, then well, actually, I'm gonna accidentally wind up feeding some candida, and I'm gonna accidentally wind up impairing my gut because I'm gonna be closing off those systems at the same time that I most need them. So if you think about it, when we put an ice pack on a swollen ankle, what are we trying to do? We're trying to stop the flow to that ankle so that we can decrease swelling. We're decreasing blood flow when we do that. The same thing happens when we put something nice and cold and icy in our bellies, is that it it constricts the blood vessels and it makes it harder to digest. Cream is one of the harder foods to digest, and sugar is also a hard food to digest. So putting all of those together feeds the pathogens and it makes the digestive systems weaker. So we can generally tolerate that more when we're young and not nearly as well when we're older. So, you see this little I have over here on the left, what is a healing crisis? Now, healing crisis is when we've got the pathogenic load, we know how to release it, but then we're pushing too much pathogens through when the gut, the digestive system, the detoxification pathways, the kidneys, the livers aren't strong enough to flush all of those pathogens at the same time. So that's why we wind up in this healing crisis. And that's why we wind up with upset tummies during the holidays because we have too much that we're trying to release. Now, how did I get to talking about pathogens when we're talking about holiday eating? Couple different ways. One is that our bodies are our friends, and fat cells are especially our friends because what they're doing is they're saving us from ourselves. They're protecting us. They've taken certain neurochemicals and they've stored them away for us. And when we bust all of those open at once, like if you could suddenly instantly lose 10 pounds, nobody's coming by and just, I mean, unless it's an amputation, right? Nobody's coming by and just scraping those out of your body. That's got to get through you somehow. Why is it that we can only lose 3 to 4 pounds of fat a week? If you, by the way, if you are starting a diet and you've lost 6 pounds or so in the first week, um, good job in the first place. And secondly, know that you have lost some inflammation. Once you lose that inflammation, then you're going to go down to those 3 to 4 pounds a week. Your diet is still working for you. 3 pounds a week is about what we look for of fat to lose. Like I said, if you've lost more than that, that's because you've lost inflammation and you really needed to lose that because who wants to walk around with like the amount, like think of a swollen ankle, what that looks like. Now put that inside your tummy and think of walking around with that. That's no good for your digestive system. Okay, so here we are, we're trying to clear these pathogens and we're trying to clear this load out of the system. And if you could lose 10 pounds in a week, you would still have to process all of that toxicity. Your body can only process so much at a time. If you tend to lose weight very slowly, it might be because you have a pathogenic load, like you might have excess candida that's vying for the nutrition that's going into your body. It's vying for your nutritional energy, the blood flow that's going to your enteric nervous system, your digestive system. So, so good. I think we're pretty clear on this. A healing crisis is when we've got too much that we're trying to flush all at one time. So the gut is where it's at. Some of my favorite things to do for upset tummy is number one, intermittent fasting. Give the digestive system a rest. A lot of people think that when they do intermittent fasting, that their digestive system isn't doing anything, and that's not true. Think of your digestive system as an overworked employee, and an intermittent fast is just them getting to work a bit of overtime to catch up on their load. It is not that they're taking vacation. So intermittent fasting can work great. And that can be as simple as just choosing to eat all of your food in an 8-hour window, which shouldn't be hard. That's from, let's say you did from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. or even 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So if you are a working girl like me, then that means that you're going to have to be a little clever about your timing and make sure that you're getting all the food you need in that amount of time. But it is a huge, huge, huge gift to your digestive system to just give it a little bit of time off. Some people even like to do full day fasts to take a break especially during holiday hours. Like if they get a little off during the holidays, it's all right. Today I'm just going to give it a rest and let my digestive system relax and catch up, and they'll see nearly instantaneous restoration to their blood sugar, to their energy levels, to really feeling that they're back on track. So intermittent fasting is number one. Of course, water, 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 water. Can't say enough good things about water. Cheers. And then other things that you can do. I'm going to talk about the at-home remedies because usually when things go wonky, then that's where you are, right? A good quality green tea binds to the lipids and binds to the sugars and helps to pull them out. They're going to come right through this center line here. You can do a decaf one if you're concerned about the caffeine, but there's not nearly as much caffeine in green tea as there is in coffee. And by the way, unfortunately, coffee is a mold vector. 99% of coffees carry some mold in them, and they're also an endocrine disruptor. So if you are trying to lose weight, coffee can be really rough on the system. I've seen a lady who was just absolutely diligent in every aspect of her diet, but she continued with Starbucks vanilla lattes daily, and she just couldn't kick the weight. It was really frustrating to her and to me too, because I didn't like seeing her not succeed, and I really got to be very grumpy about the venti vanilla lattes that I was seeing showing up on her every time she would come into clinic for her appointment. Okay, so water and green tea are places to start. And of course, the absolute best thing to do is to book an appointment. That is absolutely what I would do. If you have access to the computer program SRC, that is also a really phenomenal tool to have at your disposal. If you don't yet have this, then um, please contact us because it is one of my long-term favorite tools that I've used for a decade now in my clinic. The next thing that I want to talk about just briefly, I know we're talking about tummies, but this time of year, it's so easy to feel crappy. And so I want to talk about this adage of go slow to go fast. So as we age, what happens is that um, our our health tends to, well, what we want it to do is we want to get sick slowly and then, move up quickly. So this is kind of a squared curve here. What most people experience is that they get this kind of like sick over time. So some people even get sick quite early, and then they have to stay in the sick zone for quite a while. So we go slow to go fast. We take the incremental changes so that we can gently and slowly move outward and avoid the healing crisis. And the other thing that I want to talk about is it's so popular these days, adrenal fatigue, like it's everywhere. You can do an internet search and everybody's got an adrenal supplement, and it's all well and good and it's important and we need those things. However, more most accurate to think of the adrenals as the messenger. The adrenals are squirting out cortisol in order to help the T helper cells go to the site of infection, and they are not your problem. They are not giving you a hard time. They're having a hard time. What's most important is what's taxing the adrenals. And I'm going to say this 3 times because it's so important. What's taxing the adrenal? What's taxing the adrenals? Why are you tired? Why are you feeling like junk at a time of the year when we most want to be celebrating? So what can be taxing the adrenals are all of these things up here with these pathogens that are hanging out up here that are there most of the time. And during the holidays, that can expand because we're exposed to more holiday foods that are feeding these pathogens. We are often exposed to more pathogens. So in 2020, we're being very cautious about our exposure to loved ones. We're having small gatherings because we want to limit our exposure to pathogens. Another way to increase your release of those pathogens, by the way, one specific thing that helps to increase peeing, pooping, breathing, and sweating is exercise. And so going for a walk after dinner is a phenomenally great way to help your body get and stay on track with the digestive system and with strengthening the adrenal glands over time. So I hope this has been helpful to you. Just a couple of, it's just a couple of tips. But for me, understanding what's happening always helps me significantly in understanding what I need to do to take care of it. Other things you can do are things like Epsom salt baths are really good for helping the body detox um, gently and powerfully, or a mustard bath is also really good for helping detox. And then, like I said, being on your designed clinical nutrition supplement program, that's the perfect thing for you. That is indeed what I do. I sat down, even though uh, I feel ridiculous confessing this, but sometimes I'm not very good about getting my own appointment in for the week, testing myself for my supplements, um, and I might go a couple of days without supplements because I didn't update my sheet and I hadn't put my new supplements in. And man, I tell you, it only takes me a few times to do that before I go, this is really good medicine and I really need to do this because I feel dramatically different when I take my supplements than I do when I don't. And I learn things about myself because I learn what I'm testing for lets me know what's going on in my body too. So powerful medicine that's that's really aligned with who you are. And I say this because there's a whole other conversation. We'll have it in a different topic. There's a whole other conversation we can have about how these pathogens in large enough quantity can really bring us off center, can bring us apart from our true self. For example, we'll just talk about Lyme disease very quickly. Lyme leaches minerals from the bloodstream in order to create an encapsulation around the Lyme organism. And so they have a little armored car. And this armored car makes it difficult to get rid of that pathogen. That's why we have to use very specific nutrients to do that. And to do it in a very specific staged approach, because the decomposition of those kind of opens up other pathogens that then we also have to deal with. But that armored car presents in the person that has it, often it presents as them feeling a bit defensive. So it can be really disconcerting to try to find the right kind of help when you're feeling defensive. Like we all know how icky it feels when we're like looking for help and we feel like we're pushing people away. So that's just one little snippet. We'll have that story at a different time. It's been lovely chatting with you this evening. I hope this has been helpful. I hope that you have some better understanding about how we get the holiday tummy aches and what to do about them. Just water, green tea, and Epsom salts are a great place to start, and then get back on track with your appointment as quickly as possible because we sure feel for you, and we wish you have a great holiday season. Okay, have a great night. Bye.